Go Shorty, it's your birthday.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. It's me, Kyle the Tool Rambler, and here's another episode of Kyle's Vintage Tool Corner. Today we'll be talking about the Black & Decker Shorty.
It's your birthday.
I don't know if you can tell, it's right there. It's hard to see. It says 1065 right there. That's the model number, and it's a Type 1. It's very difficult to find information related to this, but from what I can tell and what AI tells me, this drill was made sometime in the mid to late 50s, and I know they made them all the way up until about 1980, I think, but I've seen the newer ones. Actually, where I got this one, they had one of the newer ones that has a plastic body. This is an all steel body. It's got this neat paddle trigger here. And believe it or not, this is the second time I've shot this, because the first time I shot it, most of the action was out of frame. So I have now set up my monitor so I know that I'm at least in the frame when I'm working on it. One of the things I did, one of the major things I had to do was replace the cord, because this was the original cord. As you can see, I don't really trust that. And it's crazy that they used to have string inside the cord. Now, it doesn't look like the wires are damaged, but I just didn't want to take any chances. And am I doing it again? I'm still in the frame, right?
Am I in?
Okay, so they had string in there, and there's the original wiring. It does have a grounded cord, which is nice. So that is something that you missed, but I will take it apart and show you how I did that. It is a right angle drill. It is designed for getting into tight spaces. Today, well, let me show you. This is a contemporary 1/4-inch drill of that era. This is the Black & Decker Model 30. This was probably late 50s, early 60s. It is all steel construction. If you watched my other video, which very few people did, I don't know, people don't like the vintage power tools, but I do, so I'm going to keep making them because I enjoy it. The best-selling power drill of the 80s was a plastic version of this. That was the 7004. So go back and watch that groovy video that I did. This is what most tradesmen had at the time, at least residential, light commercial, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, if you needed to get into a tight space, you can see, forgetting the drill bit, but I mean, look at the difference. Now this one, they're a quarter. This one's 2,000 RPMs, the Model 30. This one is also 2,000 RPMs. You can see it right there. This one is a 1/4-inch special drill. I don't know what makes it special. This one is a 1/4-inch Shorty drill.
It's your birthday.
And right there, you can see it even says, I don't know if you can make that out, but it says heavy duty right there. That makes it worse. But the words heavy duty is right there. I don't see, this one doesn't say heavy duty on it, but yeah, they're about the same time period. You can see the plates are very similar. The font is pretty much the same. So, yeah. That is why this drill exists, because you needed to get into a tight spot. Today, you would use something like this. This is a 3/8 chuck, but, you know, it's pretty much the same. And actually, you know, 1/4, 3/8, the 1/4 is a little bit smaller. Another weird thing about it, this is the 1/4-inch chuck that works, you know, in one of these. I'm still not in frame. I gotta keep an eye. But yeah, that's the 1/4-inch chuck. Works fine in that one, but it doesn't fit in this one. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find a 1/4-inch chuck to save my life. I've looked it up. Anytime you look up the model 1065 Type 1, it'll give you info for a Type 100, which is, like I said, the plastic version of this, which is, you know, into the 70s. But this, like I said, is mid 50s, early 60s at the latest. So when I first got it, like I showed you, the cord was frayed. This cool paddle switch here would stick. You turn it on and it would stay. So I managed to get some lubricant into all. It wasn't the switch, because the switch, as you can see, is this thing down here. This moved freely and it rebounded, no problem. The problem was the paddle. There was something binding it up. So I got some 3-in-1 oil, just oiled those points there, and now it seems to work just fine. Another thing that I noticed about this one is it's got flathead screws. There are 4 flathead screws that hold it together. There's also flathead screws holding the switch in, little smaller ones, but I thought that you're not going to see flathead screws holding a power tool together anymore, I don't think. But let's take these out. Gonna use the old Vessel powered screwdriver, ball grip. I'm gonna try to stay in the frame this time. Here's my O'Reilly magnetic tool tray. I should put a mark on here, but I'm watching it in my monitor, which is right there. There's a monitor right in front of me. So I should be able to remember to stay in the frame and to hold on to the screwdriver. Come on. Okay. It's loose. There we go. All right. Then the 2 up here at the head. This one was really, really greasy. There's a lot of grease in here. As you can see, the thinking, I think, as the motor heats up, the grease kind of gets a little bit more liquidy and flows throughout all the parts. I'm going to lay this rag down here because it's going to get messy. Stay in frame.
Stay on target.
Okay, so that was all out. There we go. See, even that one's greasy. So the grease is all up here in the head. So this just pulls apart, or it should. Let me get my old trusty screwdriver / pry bar. Here's one of the Quinn screwdrivers I got for free at Harbor Freight, so I don't mind prying with this. Okay, now we've taken it apart. That's the grommet. I'll talk to you more about that. One of the things, when I first took it apart, this thing here just came out, and I don't know what that's for. You can kind of see the shadow outline of it there. This is the field, where the electric field is. The armature turns inside there. You can see the armature turning there. Here's the head where all the grease is. And the brushes are down here. I'm going to try not to mess with the hose too much because those are a pain in the butt. I had a little issue with that too. When I took the brushes out to check them, when I went to put them in, you can see, keep it in frame, I broke the cap. See right there, that's what it's supposed to look like. But screwing it back in, I cracked the plastic, and it's some old 70-year-old plastic there, so you got to be careful. All right, so the wires, you have one wire, there's the ground wire there. I had to unscrew that and put that in. Then I had to clip, that one had a terminal on it. I had to clip that wire, and this is held together with a wire nut and some electrical tape. That's the way it was in there originally from the factory. And then the black wire, the hot wire, goes into the switch here. It has a terminal like this one that just screws into that switch, and the switch was wrapped with electrical tape. So I guess they liked electrical tape back then, just like I do. Now the grommets, let me find the old, what did I do with the old cord? So the old cord and the new cord, as you can see, they look slightly different. The old cord, the grommet fit like that, and there was like a groove or a flange here that went into that. Well, the new cord doesn't have that. So I had to take a Dremel and just get rid of that flange so that I could get this back together. And now the new cord just kind of sits inside like that, and the grommet holds that in that way. So this piece goes down here. There's really not much else to see on the inside of this thing. It's pretty straightforward, just a standard brushed motor. It was in good shape. The brushes are long, so I mean, I don't know if somebody replaced them over the years, because the brushes are in really good shape. and I'm going to get this together before I shoot that brush across the room. So this just like a clamshell. Gonna get that grommet back in. Hang on. This piece here goes into there, and there's a couple other locating pins if I can find them. I thought there were. That might be the only one. Yeah, that's it. Oh, there's one here. So that locating pin meshes in right there. See, the one right there next to the brush goes right in there, and that's how it all lines up. So it's pretty basic design. There's no PCB inside or anything. It's just a simple switch. Nothing complicated about it at all. So let's see if I can get that put back together. Okay. All right, so now we're going to put the screws back in. So now I got everything screwed back together. Give me a second. I'm going to plug it in and let's give it a shot. There we go. I don't know if you can see. The brushes are right down in those holes. If you look carefully, look at that. You can see the sparks in there. I don't know. I just like watching those. I just like watching the sparks go when on a brushed motor. I just think that's cool. So that is the Shorty.
It's your birthday.
And now there's one thing I want to check. Hang on 1 second. So it is still plugged in. I get my voltage tester. Green is 100 volts. Let's put it on 24 volts. It's not picking up anything there. It's not picking up anything. Let's see, because remember, this is the brush, and the neutral wire does go to that brush. And there's a spring, that brush touches the armature, that's what gets power, that's what completes the circuit. So my concern is that because this brass cap on that spring is now exposed, it should have that plastic cover if I hadn't have broken it like a moron. Let's see if there's any voltage going to it. So I'm going to get the old multimeter out, the Fluke 117. I put it on there. I want to have it on voltage AC. There's a glare. Let me see. There we go. Get the glare off of there. Still, that's weird. It's picking up micro voltage. What if I just do this? Nothing, but what if I do that? Okay, so now what about when I turn it on? I'm gonna drill my tray here. So with one lead there, it's picking up a minor amount of voltage. Let's try that again. Oh, wait, now it's picking up 55 volts. Huh, I can't explain that. Maybe you guys can. Is anybody an electrician out there? See, if I touch the brush over here, it is insulated. Now let's try it that way. Nothing. So when I touch this side, which has a cap on it, I get nothing. But when I touch this side where I've broken the cap off, I'm getting 22 volts going from the cap to me to the switch. So that's concerning. That's one of the issues with these metal frame power tools was the grounding issue. Now remember, the ground wire just goes directly to the frame. That's why I'm not getting shocked, because that ground wire is on there. I'm glad it is. Let's see. Seems to be working okay. I'm glad that ground is on there. Now we know. I'm gonna get some Plasti Dip or something and cover that, so that we don't accidentally touch it and get an electric shock. If that ground gets interrupted somehow, it's going to stop going through the ground. And to me, I'm assuming, that's all I know about electricity. You don't want to play with it. Black & Decker 1065 Type 1 Shorty.
We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday.
Is a pretty cool little drill that I picked up for $5 at a secondhand store. I thought it was worth saving. I'm gonna add it to my collection of vintage power tools. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I'm glad I could kind of acquaint you guys with this little piece of Black & Decker history. Remember, Black & Decker is the predecessor of this company here. They just changed the name and painted it yellow so that contractors would feel like, hey, I've got something better than the home gamer does. That's how marketing works. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, ramble on.
Don't act like you're not impressed.